Hello, everyone. Wendy is sneaking in the back door as we speak. Thanks for joining us for the passive passive wealth show. Have you guys ever wondered if there's any courses, classes, mentors available to teach you about private lending?
Mhm.
I'm
There are.
teasing you.
There are.
Stay tuned for more.
We're gonna let you know right after this.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you so much for joining us on the Passive Wealth
Are you a
Show.
little off today, Bill?
Yes, you're making me off.
I'm sorry.
So don't touch me. We're supposed to be distancing.
No, that's over. Thank the Lord.
Well, it depends on where you are
Yeah,
and what state of mind you're in that state of the union.
that's true too.
Mhm.
What the hell
Carolina
show
Capital
is this?
Management here. You're at the Passive Wealth Show. See, that's hard to do. That's hard to do.
I'm Bill Fairman. This is Wendy Sweet and Jonathan Davis.
Hi, guys.
We are Carolina Capital Management. We are a lender in the Southeast for investors. If you're interested in borrowing money, go to our website, carolinahardmoney.com, and click on the Apply Now tab. If you're an investor seeking passive returns, click on the Accredited Investor tab. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. See, I still have
I
it.
know.
got
Maybe
it.
you need to do
You
some
got it,
jumping
Bill.
jacks, get your blood moving.
Okay, so let's talk about what do we want to do? We want to do breaking news?
I think we'd start with some breaking news.
All right, excellent.
This just in, the news is broken.
Well,
Oh, wait, no.
that we all know for sure.
We do have some good news on the employment front.
Yeah.
And GDP. So unexpectedly, the continuing jobless claims were down quite a bit. They expected still in the 4 million range, and it moved down.
Was it 3.99999?
No. It was pretty close to 3 million.
Oh, good.
Oh, great.
I'm sorry. Was it 4 million? 30 million. Yeah. 3 million. So, what do you call them? New claims.
Mhm.
They also expected like 475,000 or 73,000, and it came in much lower in the 300 and some odd thousand.
And that's just for the week, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, lower than expected when it comes to that is very good news.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that the final gross
Domestic product.
numbers. So the GDP came in at 3 and some change, which is not bad for a year that pretty much half of it was shut down.
Yeah. What should it be?
Well,
What's pretty?
you would love to have a 3% annual GDP.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's pretty good growth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
something
3%
like
growth
that.
on them. Yeah.
Now we had 7% one quarter after they kind of opened everything back up.
Was that the third or the fourth quarter of 2020?
Actually, the fourth was in the 4s, and
it was the third that was 7.
it was the third that was in the 7 range.
Yeah. See, I would
first
that,
and
that
second were all.
you know that
They were
mirrors
minus.
exactly what we did in our business.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like the third just took off and the fourth was good, but
Yeah.
it was very interesting
Yeah, that is.
how how real estate can is so resilient.
Mm-hmm.
And just like last week, housing starts are still down.
Yep.
But why?
New sales are down.
Yeah.
I'll get to that.
Mhm.
It has to do with inventory for
Yeah.
the most part.
Yeah.
Rates are drifting up a bit.
Yeah, they're
But
sitting over
relatively
3%
speaking-
right now.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But 3%, I mean, yeah.
It
come
really
on.
doesn't matter. The headlines are people can't afford homes. Well, they couldn't afford homes before anyway. The ones, if you don't have a job, you can't afford a house. If you're working, a little bit in the rate's not going to hurt you much. You just have to perhaps go down a little bit in price.
Well, what's interesting is 38% of the new home buyers are millennials. and their first homes are not like
They're not like mine was.
your all's first homes.
You calling
Yeah.
us older?
You are not millennials. But yeah, I mean they're $1 million homes.
Yeah,
as
it's insane.
as a first home,
Yeah,
which
it's
is interesting.
Well, I mean, they're probably the first generation that come out of college with debt that's 30 years in the making.
Yeah, so
pay
how are they also affording first homes like that? Well, they're older, I
Rates
think,
are
when
so
they get
low.
them.
Rates are low. Yeah.
Well, and they're older when they get them. Like you were you even 20 when you bought your first house?
I was 19.
Yeah, and he had a motorcycle in the living room. I just thought it
Well,
was the coolest place
the
ever.
breakdown would be like of the 38%
My
that are
decorating
millennials, I think 25% are 30 to 39, and then the balance is between 22 and 29.
Yeah,
So most of them are 30 to 39.
yeah, yeah.
Well, listen, in some of the areas of the country, your median home price is in the 700s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's true.
Plus,
And-
after living in your parents' basement for so many years, you have an opportunity to.
Well, and you
collect
do
a lot of
see, I
money.
mean, I think that is a phenomenon that we do see more with millennials, is they
Yeah.
did spend more, and it was, a lot of different aspects, student loan debt and a lot of other
Mhm.
things, but
Mhm.
they stayed home longer, and maybe they were able
It
to
was
secure
saving
more of
money.
a nest egg
Yeah.
to get that
Well,
first home.
a lot of them waited later to start a family, and
That's-
they were already financially secure before they.
Mhm.
Yeah, families are expensive, especially when you start out at 22. That's
Yeah,
providing for a whole family.
that's right.
One of the interesting things I was telling you earlier, Bill, was because in real estate we only have back facing data. In February, they released like the top 20 hottest markets in the United States.
Yeah.
What surprised me was number 4 was Burlington, North Carolina.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Really?
Yeah, number 4.
For those of you who don't know
That's
anything
like a
about
third tier
Burlington,
market too.
It's between Greensboro and Durham.
Yeah,
So I
Yeah.
mean, we can take a. I mean, that's an interesting point, and we can speculate.
and I know
Why?
85 runs through it.
Yeah.
I wonder what other big interstates run.
Well, I
right
mean,
through it.
perhaps with the
85.
pandemic, more people wanted more space, ability to have a garden
Yeah,
or whatever,
Good point.
and it was cheaper in that area.
Mhm.
But so much so that it became the number 4 hottest market in the United States for February.
That's amazing.
And then, future facing data, which is all speculation, Charlotte Metro, or not even Charlotte Metro, Charlotte MSA, which encompasses Gastonia, Concord, Kannapolis, Charlotte proper, Rock Hill, which is York County.
Mhm.
It's touted as the number 3 MSA for
That's right.
growth.
But there's nothing going on in Rock Hill, folks.
Yeah, the number 3 in growth and sales price for 2021.
well, Burlington would have been a great place to target.
We did a multifamily in Burlington
That's right.
last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a market that the main industry was furniture,
Mhm.
and of course, China took most of that. They still have some of Burlington Industries is still there.
Mm-hmm.
That said, it was probably one of the least expensive places to purchase and still have an easy commute to either the Raleigh-Durham area and or the Greensboro market.
Yeah.
So that sounds like a good place.
Wasn't it in Burlington that we did the loan on that large piece of land?
No, that was Winston-Salem.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
Winston-Salem. But another key finding from all this research was that they expect rents, like rental growth, units of houses that are being rented to outpace more than double the purchases over the next 10 years.
Well,
Which
Crazy.
is interesting because it's like right now it doesn't feel too good to be owning rentals,
Mhm.
at least for the last year.
Yeah.
But all the data that we're looking at is showing that most markets, if not close to every market, has already hit its rental bottom because we saw
Right.
rents decline,
Mhm.
and now we're actually starting to see them appreciate back up.
Yeah.
So hopefully we felt the worst of the rentals, and it's only going to go up from here.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be state specific.
The timing for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You have people obviously leaving certain areas, so that's going to continue to decline for a little while. But also depending on who is the power in government in those states, whether they continue to allow eviction moratoriums.
Yeah, that's hurting.
And those smaller,
foreclosures,
the
yeah.
smaller rental portfolios are going to be the ones that are hurting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your bigger REITs, they can deal with it right now.
It's
Yeah.
a numbers game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, of the numbers, if you go into multifamily, January, again, we only have back facing data. January rent collection for either a full payment or a partial payment was down a percentage across the nation from December. So, but they anticipate that February is actually going to be a rise and then keep moving forward.
Well, maybe because of that check going out to everybody, they'll be able to pay their rent, right?
I read something.
Once.
Now, it was on LinkedIn, so, take the source for what it is. But someone wrote that, their tenant hadn't paid and, something to the tune of like 14 months, but they just went out and bought a brand new car and like
That's
all this
right.
stuff. So it's like, man.
Now they can afford that
tough.
car.
Now they can,
Pay
because they
rent.
don't pay.
That's
Yeah.
right. Well, too, with we mentioned this last week, but FHA now wants to reduce their holdings of
7%
from 15, which
Yeah.
at 15% right now for investment properties. Now they're trying to drop it to 15, or to 7. So
Mhm.
they're raising the rates. Number one, it's a great way to keep away from doing those loans. But the problem, I think what really tripped that is there are so many landlords that are now in loan modification because they're not able to pay the mortgage based on the fact that the tenants aren't paying the rent. So
Yeah.
we're going to see some, I'm interested in seeing what that fallout will be, but we're seeing some interesting fallout on that.
I'm hoping that, hoping is a terrible word maybe, but hoping to see some movement of some larger portfolios where, you have a landlord, either just tired of the
20 properties,
Yeah,
half of them in forbearance.
half of them in forbearance, like, let's just move them all.
Yeah.
Like, just get them all out.
Yeah.
Well, part of the reason I think you're going to see more renters is because the expense of building new single family
Correct.
and the availability of existing single family.
Oh yeah.
So you're not having any choice but to rent.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, all the data is pointing to, we're anticipating home ownership right now, I think is at 65% of,
That's a good level.
and we're anticipating it to tick down to 62% over the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, so many people know we're at the top of the market, so you're going to
Yeah.
sell your house, get the cash out of it. You rent a property until
Yeah.
hopefully things go down or calm down, or
and
you
part-
find a place.
And part of that could be stemmed from an aging population. We are actually entering into where we have, a good size of our population aging out of maybe the home maintenance and the home
Mhm,
ownership, and they
mhm.
want to get more into the
Condos,
condo and rental side where they don't have so
townhomes.
much upkeep.
Mhm.
Well, at least there's plenty of millennials to fill in behind them since they've already surpassed the baby boomers in population.
Yeah, but not in
Yeah.
wealth.
No,
We still got
It's
it.
still got it. Y'all still got it.
that's never going to change. The older populations typically accumulate the wealth over time.
Sure.
Yeah, they're going to get it at some
But
point.
when you're born, also attributes to the wealth that you accumulate. Like a baby boomer, I think was like 2 times more likely to accumulate more, and that's a rough statistic, but like more wealth than say like a millennial. And you can like actually break it down to like over the course of the life of a baby boomer, like they actually compounded almost 2% more per year in wealth than a millennial would.
And here's why.
Yeah.
Because baby boomers spent money on stuff
Experiences
that was worth
and
something.
yeah,
And millennials tend to spend money on experiences,
that's
which
right.
is worth nothing but memories.
Yeah, yeah.
You can accumulate
But
a lot of
you can
memories.
take that memory to your grave.
You can take
the
anything.
stuff.
You can take anything to your grave.
Listen, they're selling tennis shoes that you can't wear. That's nothing but an emoji for hundreds of thousands of dollars right now.
That's just
I don't even know anything about that.
stupid.
Well, good for
That's-
you.
Yeah. Wow.
Apparently, there's people that have too much money where they'll spend thousands of dollars on something that you can only show as an emoji.
This
Like
just
they don't even have the shoes.
No, it's an emoji. It's art that is digital.
on your
That
phone.
is so messed up.
Yeah.
It is. All right. Well, listen, we're whining about stuff that we
We
shouldn't
can't
be
fix.
whining about. Can't fix stupid. Stupid
Well-
rich. So
Stupid is as stupid
We are
is.
going to move
That's what I
into the whole name of this show.
The
Answer
ugly question.
the ugly question. Wow, you guys are working nonstop with all these excellent graphics, aren't they?
They're
Every
nice.
time we come here, there's a new graphic. showing up.
Mhm.
Oh, it's already.
There's our first question.
We've been reminded. It's time to move on. All right. So our question is, what education course, books, or etc. can you recommend for newer private lenders?
It's a great question.
And there's lots of stuff out there. So Jonathan came prepared with charts and graphs, and I'm going to let him start.
Well, that's a great question. What is out there, and first you have to realize or understand what are the components that make up private lending. Because what are you trying to learn? Are you just trying to learn how to give someone money? That's easy. Just write them a check.
Right.
So what are you trying to learn? So when I break down private lending, we break it down into market knowledge, underwriting due diligence, loan documentation or collateral, servicing collection, loss mitigation, and loan sales. So to be a private lender, you must understand and be knowledgeable about all these different aspects.
In the state in which you're lending.
So market knowledge is local. It's not even state specific. It is very local. It can be borough, neighborhood, street. Underwriting, that's kind of universal. Once you learn how to underwrite and do due diligence, you can move that to any state or any place. Loan docs, collaterals, that's state specific. Each state has its own needs. Some states are deed of trust states. Some states are mortgage states. Servicing collection, again, state specific. Each state requires has different laws for that. Loss mitigation, which is foreclosure, bankruptcy, defaults of any nature. That again is state specific. And then loan sales, universal. Once you learn how to sell a loan, you can do that in any state. So yeah, all of that most of it is very state or local specific. So again, what are you trying to learn? What are you trying to get? So if you're going after universal knowledge from someone that says, hey, I can teach you how to buy, or to lend money in all 50 states or whatever it is. Probably not.
Don't do it. We don't do it.
You can do it, but again, like you look at these larger companies that do it, they have such a tight box that's
They
conforming.
can't lose. Yeah.
Like if you do that, but as a private lender, you're probably not going to want to lend at 5, 6, 7%. Maybe you are. I don't know. So your competition with them, you wouldn't be in competition with them. They would beat you out every time.
Right.
Well, if you're going to do private lending, if you're doing it for short term, you can get higher returns. If you're doing it for longer terms, you're going to do it for less money. And why? Why would you do that? Well, you can get higher returns on a short-term loan, but the problem is you have to continually have short-term loans because they're going to pay off quickly.
But you'll get good practice out of doing it, right?
On the other hand, if you want more security and knowing that you don't have to go find another loan soon, you opt for getting less over time, but you have the long-term security.
Right.
Yep.
All the fundamentals are still the same.
Yeah.
Well, I think when you're lending, you need to understand the investor side to begin with, the rehabber side. You need to understand, like you were talking about, the market. What is it really going to be worth when they have it fixed up and ready to sell? What's it really going to be worth?
And appraisal can help you, but that's not the whole story.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And the other side is you really understand the rehab side. You need to understand what the true costs are. When people are, when people give us a rehab list of what they plan on doing, we both can look at the rehab sheet and we know you can't put in a full bath for $2,500. It's not going to happen.
Come to my house if you can.
Yeah, that would be great. So we can tell looking at a sheet whether or not that list is realistic and, oh, my cousin's going to, he's a contractor and he's going to do it for me. Well,
Mhm.
that contractor, that contractor cousin is not going to come and finish that for you if you have to take that house back tomorrow at that price.
Yeah.
So those are things that you need to keep in mind. But really the most important thing for any newer lender to understand is that when you lend, you should be lending to people that you know, like, and trust in
Yep.
areas that you know well.
Mhm.
And take baby steps. Do it one loan at a time.
Yep.
And I like the idea of doing short term, especially when you're first out of the box.
Yeah.
Because you get an opportunity to get from the beginning to the end to see what that entire process was like. But when you start lending to people that you don't know, or lending to people that are in a hurry, I got to have it tomorrow or in 3
Mhm.
days. Be very careful about that.
That would put us out of business.
Yeah.
Well, and you hit it, like, if you do a long term and it's your first one, markets change. And here's the, if you don't understand, or you didn't do your collateral documents, which are all the documents that encompass your loan, which is your note, your deed of trust, your mortgage, your title policy, your personal guarantee, your business purpose affidavit, your non-applicability of truth in lending. And the list goes on. If you don't have all of those ducks in a row,
Mhm.
5 years from now, something can happen, and a judge says, "Well, sorry, sir, ma'am, you don't have proper documentation.
That's
This isn't a
right.
valid loan.
That's right.
You just lost all your money."
And all of those are things that any attorney can draw up for you. And
Correct.
if you'd like to see our documents, what we use, we are so happy to share it with you and
For a
let
fee.
you see what we use. So for a
For a
fee, $2.
Well, listen, any real estate attorney that you hire to do the documents, you're going to be covered under their E&O if they get it wrong.
Correct.
That's right. That's right.
You're the one that comes up with the terms,
Mhm.
and we're starting to run a little short on time, so I want to get some courses in here. We
Yeah.
have a good friend in Atlanta, Dykes Bodiford,
Mhm.
that does a course once a year.
Yeah. Really
His
good
website
stuff.
is Assets 101. If you go to the events page, you'll see upcoming events. He just finished doing a hard money course that lasted like 3 weeks online.
Mhm.
Usually it's a long weekend
Yeah.
in person. But he also sells courses on creative financing techniques. He sells a course on notes.
And he's got documents in his course as well.
Mhm.
Correct. And I know you have some
Lee
other folks.
Arnold is
Yep.
another person that I don't think I have his information. I should have given it to you first,
It's, what is it? Circle of Wealth or something like
but
that?
maybe that's it.
Can't remember.
But Lee Arnold, Lee, and last name is Arnold. He has a really good program. In fact, he has a course. I think he has a mentorship program that he does as well with his lending teaching that he does.
Yeah.
And that's really good.
I would recommend Ron LeGrand. We've had him on the show. He's he'd be a great mentor. He has a few books as well. And I think you probably have his information if you want to throw it up there, Ron LeGrand stuff. And then one of the things that I really like to do is, if you're a first time private money lender,
Mhm.
it does not hurt to be ultra conservative.
Yeah.
It does not hurt at all.
Yeah.
So what I would recommend is get with your local bankers association. Like here it's like South Carolina Bankers Association, North Carolina Bankers Association. They offer essentials of lending courses, and I think they're like maybe $300-400.
Mhm.
They're usually over the course of a week or two, but and they can actually step you through how a bank would underwrite, which is very conservative, how a bank would underwrite a loan, which can give you all the foundation pieces that you potentially need. Now, don't take all of it, maybe take some of it, or take all of it. I don't know what you want to do, but like for me, I've taken quite a few of them, and it's great to see how that side sees it,
Yeah.
and it helps.
Why they're asking what they're asking
Yeah,
for.
why-
It's
yeah.
always good to know.
Mhm.
Well,
Another option too, real quick. I would also learn about what you'd be facing for somebody trying to raise private capital from you. And Jay Connor, who is a dear friend of ours, teaches raising private money, and he does such a good job with that. it would behoove you as a lender to understand how he teaches, what he's teaching, about raising capital, because then you'll know it from both sides. And I think that would be really, really helpful.
When I grow up, I want to be Jake Arnold.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And lastly,
He's out of Morehead City, by the way.
if you understand notes, the note business, you can lend as well as just buy existing notes. And I recommend Eddie Speed's course.
Yep.
I know Fred Rury and Tracy Z have ongoing education as well.
Who's the note queen?
Dawn Rickenbaugh.
Yeah.
Is another great one.
So if you understand notes and creative financing techniques, you're going to learn everything there is to know about lending through that.
Yep.
And it's not just about originating a new note. It's also about buying existing loans as well.
Right. Great point.
All right. Well, listen, thank you guys so much. I know we're getting down to it. I want to make sure that you see that our next show is part 2 of Fernando Angelucci. I don't know why I do that every time. I've known this guy for like
Italian.
3 freaking years, and every time I get to Angelucci, I just blank out for whatever reason.
He thinks pizza.
I'll do better next time. Don't forget Wednesdays with Wendy.
Get your sister.
Wendy does some mentoring, but I'm telling you, she's booked way out in advance. So make sure that you get on the schedule. Don Harris is exactly right. You need to get a good mentor or partner as you're going into these things.
Yes.
And Lori is also recommending Dykes as well. As a matter of fact, Larry Goins and myself drove down and took Larry's class, and we were already doing hard money loans.
Dykes' class.
Dykes.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Yeah, you said Larry, but we know what you meant.
Okay. I'm glad somebody does. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining the Passive Wealth Show. We are Carolina Capital Management. We are lenders in the Southeast for real estate investors. Go to carolinahardmoney.com if you're interested in borrowing money, and click on the Apply Now tab. If you're an investor and you're interested in passive returns, click on the Accredited Investor tab. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. Thank you so much. See you on the next show.